Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for coming today to celebrate the opening of the Robert Libke Public Safety Facility. Due to the coronavirus, this event is limited in attendees, but to share this momentous occasion, we are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you to all of those who are watching out there. Today, we'll be hearing from Chief Jim Band and those that helped build this site, including Brian Shoemaker with PNC Construction, Ian Gelbrich with FFA, and Gerard Mulroney with Plan B Consultancy. Then, our city commissioners, Denise Mcgriff and Rocky Smith, will share what this facility means to our city and the heritage of this site. Lastly, Mayor Dan Holliday will speak to the dedication of our staff and leadership. I would like to thank the many community members that have supported this project throughout the years, helped with the public outreach and approval of the funding, and the current and former city commissioners for their leadership in taking an idea and turning it into the building that we have today, which will be a community asset and source of pride for decades to come. Today is the day we celebrate the accomplishment of building our community a public safety facility that is seismically sound for our first responders, better equipped to handle the needs and services of our community, and honors those that have fallen in the line of duty. I want to thank the men and women who serve on the Oregon City Police Department, from our sworn officers to support staff. You are a big reason why people are proud to live in Oregon City. We are very lucky to have Chief Jim Band leading this department. He is committed to the health and safety of his staff and our community, and his leadership was instrumental in the success of this project. Next, I would like to thank the Honorable Judge Lorraine McNeese, who oversees the Oregon City Municipal Court with dignity, respect, and compassion. This facility is the new home to court and the hardworking staff that process and manage municipal court hearings. I mentioned that this facility is honoring those who have fallen in the line of duty. The court and commission chambers are named after Officer George Hanlon, who was fatally shot in 1906 by a burglar he was attempting to arrest. And the facility is named after Officer Robert Libke, who was tragically killed in the line of duty in 2013. The Oregon City community and staff, the City Commission, and I owe Officer Libke's family a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid, but will always be remembered. And we are so grateful to have his family here today to commemorate this building in his honor. And if you wouldn't mind just joining me for a second to give them a round of applause and thank them. So thank you very much for that brief introduction. Next, I'll turn it over to Chief Jim Band.
Thanks, Tony. I was sitting there wondering, if like 5 years ago, if you'd have showed me that picture, I don't know if I'd have been more surprised that the building was done or why everyone was wearing a mask. I want to just kind of, for some context of the project and everything that came before it, I just want to run through a few dates that kind of led up to us being here with this building. So in August of 2014, we had a needs assessment done for the police department, and what included with that was if we ever found a site other than the one we were in, that we would that the architects would also look at the suitability of that site. In that same year, around September 2014, we began outreach to go to the community to talk about this idea of a utility fee and whether or not the public had the tolerance for something like that to pay for the police department, whether or not they liked that idea. In December of 2014, the commission approved the purchase of this property that had come open, and we worked with the school district. They wanted to see it stay in public hands, and so we purchased this 8.3 acre site from them. In May of 2015, after a lot of public outreach, feedback that helped shape what the Community Safety Advancement Fund looked like from the community, the commission approved that utility fee that pays for the large part of this building. In September 2017, We got voter approval. I think it was a little over 78% yes vote to go ahead and begin construction by utilizing that fee to pay back a bond. And then July of 2019, construction began. So I got to talk about a few things about the project and thank some folks. I do think one of the things, you can't really talk about this building without talking about the school that came before and the history of that school and the schools that were here. This installation here, I've had people go by and not know what it is. I've had people instantly recognize that window. We were trying to figure out when we purchased this property, how do we tell the story of the school and how do we make sure that we capture that in a way that the public is going to be okay with seeing that school. So many people from this community went to school there. I remembered around that time, Commissioner Roth, Kathy Roth was a commissioner then, and she mentioned her husband talked about, I just am going to miss going by and seeing the place where I went to school. And that was sort of in my head. And as we were contemplating ideas, we went from thinking there should be some sort of an artist's interpretation of what the school was. We started getting this idea of maybe there needs to be a relic there so people can see something concrete that represented their school. So we turned the architects onto that idea. They came up with some really cool pictures, and we came up with this idea. Those bricks all came from that school. The window came from the school. You'll see that stone on the front that used to be on the school there. And then there's a little bronze plaque there that explains something about what that installation is. There's a temporary picture, there's a bronze picture that's going to be put up there. It was kind of interesting when we had the ribbon cutting, there was a Bob and Betty Light came up to me with a picture. And the picture you see on there was a crosshatch picture. The artist was Jude Welter, and Bob was the principal at the school from 1974 to 1984. So when we started putting this all together, Kelly had come to me with this picture and said, with some other stuff, what are we going to do with this? And so we got this idea, well, maybe they could put that on that plaque. So I've yet to tell Bob and Betty that. They live close by, but that's a little bit about that installation right there. The boots you'll also see over there by Wendy. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But those are Rob's work boots. And you can also see handprints. And Ziva, when the concrete was still wet, Ziva made her mark on this property by putting her prints in there. And that bronze was done by an outfit in Firebird Bronze in Troutdale. I have to thank one person at the groundbreaking. I forgot to thank somebody who was very crucial to the effort of getting this building done, and that's Brian Willard. We had a lot of people in the community have volunteered their time in the political action committee that we had. This is their own time. This was not paid time. And I thanked everybody, but probably the person who might have carried the heaviest load. He's one of our officers, extremely talented with photography and all things computer. And he did all of our social media on that, created our website. And when I realized I had forgotten to thank him, I knew that I would wait until today, and I haven't forgotten. So thank you, Brian. You did a ton of work on that. Moving to, I just want to briefly say a couple things about the firms that we picked for the construction project. FFA, we had a very specific idea of how we wanted this building to look. We went and looked at a lot of departments and wanted something that did not look like a police department, more something that looked like a library, lots of glass, inviting. When people come to the police department or to court, it's not really a good day. And we wanted to try and minimize that as much as possible. I was getting emails from some guy, John Pete, I remembered his name, and Rich Grace, and I couldn't remember where I remembered these names from. Well, the needs assessment we'd done a long time ago, these guys had worked at a different place. And when the word gets out that you're doing a project, a lot of people are reaching out. We went and had lunch with these guys, and everybody wants a project, and it's their job to go get business, but I just could really tell that they were really committed to finishing the project that we talked about. And the entire team, those guys, Ian, Troy, Tajera, Rachel ended up being just a superstar that kind of had a quieter voice in the beginning, and at the end, I really relied and trust you, Rachel, wherever you are, a lot. She knew every detail of this place, and really, I think, led as we went through that construction project. If we were doing a project like this again, and I would never want to do a project like this again, I would hire you guys again. PNC Construction, super able-bodied guys who also really cared about this project and worked really hard. And I knew Brian, Brad, Will, Carlos, just good folks who really cared about the bigger picture about whose name was going to be on this building. Plan B, Sam and Gerry, I can't thank you enough. Gerry, I said it before, I trust you implicitly, and to have you as our point person on this was extremely meaningful because the building meant so much to us, so I can't thank you enough. I have to talk about our staff really quick. We were talking in the old building about, I think as we were getting ready to walk out, about whose office was here, and remember when this person had an office there and this wall was moved here. And it's crazy, I started thinking about all the history. And this is a new building, but it's really about people, right? And the old building is really about the people who worked there and the victims that were served there and the people we put away who needed to get put away there. I remember nights of having that place packed with victim families of horrible things that happened while everyone's sleeping. And the work that gets done in these departments is just very crucial. And I've always been super proud of our staff. There is no better police department that I can think of in this state. And I know how hard they work, and I'm super proud that they're going to work in a place that they're proud of. They've turned in the same work regardless. But I'm just really proud that they get to work in a place like this that I truly believe is going to be better for victims and people who need our services. And without the hard work that every one of you all do, that 78% approval would have never happened. And I just can't thank you enough, and you all deserve this building, and I'm super glad that we're moving in here. I think the community is definitely going to get better things from this. It is going to be all the things we talked about when we were selling the property about what the victim experience is going to be like, from interview rooms that are private to separating where offenders register. All those things are integrated into this building like we talked about. I got to thank the commission and the community. These are weird times, and I know without a doubt that what has really held our department together through all this is the support that we get from our commission and from the community. It really is a difference maker, and I just can't say that enough. A community needs their police, and your support really have gotten us through some really tough times. And it's kind of a fun time for us to be able to do something this cool in light of everything that's going on. The last thing I'm going to say, well, before that, I also want to thank my wife. There have been a lot. This has been a long road. Lots of meetings after work between the PAC and selling this to the community and the stress of this building. I just thank you very much for always supporting me and these efforts. Last is this building to me. One of the other crucial pieces has been a promise to Wendy that this community would never forget Rob, ever. That was one of the things that Wendy has said repeatedly. And I think that it's fairly obvious that this city is never going to forget Rob. I think that one of the things that Rob did in terms of his legacy was he sort of proved it. He proved what our department does on a daily basis, and that is we will go to any end to make sure that people are safe in their homes. Unfortunately, Rob paid the ultimate price. He proved our word, and as a brother to us, that's extremely meaningful. Our relationship with you and Ziva now and moving forward, and the rest of your family to us now, I think that it is very moving. It was moving to everybody here watching Ziva put her prints into the concrete at this site, And I think that as she grows older and begins to understand more things and what this means, that to now I don't think she truly does, I hope that she sees the value that we put in the sacrifice that you guys made. But it's a celebration to me of a promise that I hope that we delivered. You mean the world to us and to this entire community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Next, I'll ask up Brian Shoemaker from PNC Construction.
Good evening. We knew this project was a big deal well in advance before we pursued it. We did some research, and it was an important project. And shortly after we were selected, it was Jim Band that pulled me aside, and he said, "This is a big deal. It's a big deal to the community. It's a big deal to us. And I don't care what you do, but you just got to get it right. And you just got to get it right." He would say that all the time throughout the entire project. And it started with the design team and their unique approach to utilizing timber for the structure of this building. And at the same time, they're using it as a warm, inviting interior finish. It was a unique approach. They had to get it right. Then there was the commemorative marker. Jim pulled me aside again and said, "Just in case you weren't aware, this is a big deal. It's a big deal to the community. I don't care what you do, but you just got to get it right." And I remember when we were placing the brick, I was walking through here, and my superintendent, Brad, had mentioned to one of the masons, "Hey, take your time, make sure it's clean, because we got to get it right." All the way over to the memorial for Mr. Libke. I remember hearing Brad yelling over at our finishers, "Get your best finisher over here. This is a big deal. We got to get it right." And that was the theme for this project. And Jim really set the tone. And I just wanted to say thank you to FFA, the design team, for working with us for the duration of this project. My crew, everybody, the attention to detail, all the hours and effort to try and get the project right. And I'm hoping that the community and the Oregon City Police Department does feel that we got it right and enjoy their new home. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next, I'll ask up Ian Gelbrich with FFA Architecture.
So thank you. Before I begin, I want to quickly acknowledge sort of the people behind the design effort. I'd ask the design team to sort of raise your hands as I call your name. Tajara Brown and Amanda Hansen are responsible for the interior design of the spaces. Our project architects, Rachel Zanetti, John Pete, and the support of James Hawkins and Lynn Hilbert and Kathleen Stragel, who couldn't make it today. And then the design and management leadership of Richard Grace and Troy Ainsworth. So that's really enough about us. Days like today are not really about the design team or the project management team or the contractor. It's really about the staff from the police department, the staff from the municipal courts, and the residents of Oregon City. We sincerely hope that this new facility enables you to do your absolute best work and helps us reach your highest ideals, both as agencies and as communities. And so we thank you very much for this opportunity to work on this project. And we thank you for allowing us to be a part of the story of Oregon City. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, I'll ask up from Plan B, Gerry Mulroney.
Thank you, Tony. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gerry Mulroney with Plan B Consultancy. We acted as the project manager for this beautiful building you see behind us. This may well be the last time I get to say this, but I make no apologies if you can't understand me. English is not my first language. So Jim will translate if you don't understand anything. Firstly, I'd like to thank the Mayor and the Commissioners that are here, and hopefully there's some former Commissioners were an integral part supporting this project over the last number of years. You guys allowed us to be custodians of the public's interest, and I do hope that you're proud of this new community asset. I'd also like to thank City Manager Tony, city staff, legal staff for their professionalism. They all played a part in getting us to where we are today. I'd also like to applaud the public who took a vested interest in the project, attended public meetings on cold and wet nights, provided valuable input, feedback, and who gave plenty of food for thought for the design team. You've all played your part in this. To FFA, Troy, you're here, I see you. Ian, Richard, John, Tajara, James, Amanda, and Rachel, especially Rachel. Congratulations, it's an excellent design. It's an exceptional building. Project overall, you guys should be all proud of yourselves. I know I am. Also to your sub-consultants. I did express my concern to Ian early on when we started seeing crooked lines on some drawings. Ian assured me that over the course of the project, the client would be extremely happy with the final outcome. And I think they are. You guys have assembled a very talented team, and you've been very excellent to work with. Thank you. To our builders, Brian, P&C, Will, Brad, Nolan, Carlos. Your role can be very, very thankless most of the time and unrewarding a lot of the time. Particularly when it mattered most, though, you guys stepped up and performed to the standard we expected from you. Congrats on another successful project here in Oregon City. Also, I wanted to publicly acknowledge Sam from my company. Sam came into the project towards the end of the design stage. She took the project like she'd been part of the team from day one. She rallied, engaged, kept everyone on their toes, and moved everything forward. I'm extremely proud of you, so thank you very much. This team worked together through many challenges, has spent early mornings, late nights, long weekends in order to achieve our goals for the client and hand over a building that we all should be proud of. So again, thank you for the whole project team. To Mrs. Libke, Ziva, and the Libke family, I hope you are very pleased with the building. It's been our privilege for us to be involved with a project that will forever bear the name of your loved one and the honour and sacrifice that Mr. Libke made. To Kelly, Sean, and Bill, I feel like this is a scene from The Lord of the Rings when they're breaking up the fellowship. I want to applaud your efforts in particular. The time and energy that you've put into the project. I know you have busy day-to-day jobs and you have families, young families, and yet you answered each call, every email, each question, commitment that we asked of you. Even though some of you are new to all this, it's been fun working with you, and because you made it fun. So thank you very much. Finally, I want to specifically and publicly say a sincere and heartfelt appreciation to a man who has lived every day, if not every moment of this project, long before any of us as part of the project team became involved. I've seen firsthand that it's not easy doing what he does on a day-to-day basis, never mind having to be the public face of a construction project. I learned after our second meeting he would be dedicated to the project, would be fully committed, and would be with us each and every step of the way. Sure, he went fishing on a few occasions when we needed decisions, but we never held that against him. This man has a unique communication skill set, and as a team and individuals, we all benefit from it. I was given some elocution lessons along the way, which has been great. Again, not being English first language. He's very approachable and fair, likes the challenge, but loves the solution. I've had the pleasure to learn even more of his qualities over the last 2.5 years. Qualities such as a proud and honourable man, devoted to his family and his profession. I've enjoyed each call, text, meeting, conversation and milestone. And Chief Band, it's been an absolute honour and a privilege to serve you. I look forward to a friendship beyond this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gerry. Next, we'll have Oregon City Commissioner Denise Mcgriff.
Good afternoon, everybody. So glad to be here and so glad to see all of you, members of our community, friends, members of our Oregon City Police Department. I have to say that it's been a long road to this facility. I started my career in Oregon City at 320 Warner Milne Road. We shared City Hall on one side and the police department on the other, and we spent a lot of time walking back and forth behind the back part, the part that the public didn't get to see. And I have many friends from that time, and that building will always be special to me in many ways. But I'm so glad that we are here today. This is going to be a new beginning for Oregon City, and it's been a long road, but we now have a police facility that we can be proud of, and that strange things won't happen to it like happened at 320 Warner Milne Road, and those of you who work there know what I'm talking about. We also are honored to support the heritage of Mount Pleasant Elementary School. I didn't have the fortune of going there, but I know many people who taught there. Former Principal Bob Light is a neighbor of mine, and I've heard many, many stories about the things that went on here, and it was a beautiful school, and I'm glad that we've been able to honor it. This facility will be a testament to the men and women of the Oregon City Police Department and our municipal court employees, and last but not least, our community. This building is for the community and is of the community, and it's something we can all be proud of. Even though we've had some troubling times these last few months, we can set that aside, celebrate this fantastic achievement in this building. I'm so glad to be here with you today, and thank you so much for coming, and thank you for your continued community support, and thank you for supporting our Oregon City Police Department.
Thank you, Commissioner Mcgriff. Next, we'll have Oregon City Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Thank you all for being here today. It's hard to hear all the speakers before us and not get emotional. And then I realized that it's hard to get it's been an emotional year, and it almost takes nothing to get me to get emotional at this point. But today is a very big day, and I think that it's exciting because when we look back on 2020, we're going to remember today. And I hope that we will never forget this day. This is a big day for Oregon City. And as a teacher at Oregon City School District for over 25 years, or 20 years, sorry, I'm just wishful thinking. The last year has seemed like about 5 years. And I'm the son of an Oregon City retired police officer. And so it's an honor and a privilege to be here today and be part of the new legacy of this historic site. And I just wanted to share a little bit about why it was so important to make that balance between the past, the today, and the future in Oregon City. It was near this site, as the chief mentioned, that the original Mount Pleasant School was built in a log building on this property. It was replaced with multiple buildings before the old Mount Pleasant School that we know of was built. The Mount Pleasant School was built and opened in 1933, and it closed 2012, 2013. And as that old building was taken down, the window and the bricks were saved to make that monument there in tribute to the past of the school and all of the teachers, students, and families who came into that building over the years. When you get a chance today, before you leave, please walk up and check out that installation and check out that important monument to that history. There are a lot of memories in this place. And like me, many other people on that tour, that last tour of Mount Pleasant, shared our memories of the building, memories about square dancing in the gymnasium, and playing the Oregon Trail game on the old screens, green screen computers, field day at the end of the year, and our favorite teachers. Miss Cooper was one of the teachers that we remember. She's still around, and field day in this field every year. Teachers that I remember, Mr. Goodwin and Miss Johnson, other memories that were written on cards on that kickoff to build this building. And as you know, this community feels so important. This community really feels like it's important to honor its past and its history. And it's very important to me, but to me, this place is beyond that. This place is so important. I grew up on the street just behind this building, went to Mount Pleasant School. My mom was a teacher, or my mom worked at the school district. My father, retired police officer. And it was from my parents that I understood the importance of community service, the importance of service back to the community. And it's probably why I became a teacher, and it's probably why I became a city commissioner. And it's why I've worked so hard to get this building built. It's amazing to me that it's happened. In fact, when I started on the commission, our goal was just to get enough police officers, to hire 8 police officers, 10 police officers, just to get to the level we needed. We never thought that we would be in a place like this to get to see this building, and it's truly amazing. So that importance of community service and the importance that community service is an honorable thing. It's an important thing. And Robert Libke knew that. That is why I'm so proud to be here today to see this building open and take Mount Pleasant's place in serving the community. I'm excited to all the people that will be working within this building, and they will finally be able to do their jobs in a building that is worthy of the work that they do every day to protect and serve this community. I know this building will stand in service of and memory of Officer Libke from this day forward. Let's make him proud of the work we do. And I believe we got it right. I believe you got it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. I would also like to acknowledge and thank Oregon City Commission President Rachel Al Smith, who's here with us today, and Oregon City Commissioner Frank O'Donnell for their leadership and stick-to-itness and getting us over the finish line here. So lastly, I'll call up Mayor Dan Holliday.
So before I get started on my prepared remarks, I did want to say thank you to a couple of people. Gerry Mulroney, who has run this project from the beginning, is just a great guy. I've attended almost all the weekly construction meetings. He seems like a friendly, happy little leprechaun. However, if something's going wrong, he can turn into that other leprechaun pretty quickly. He's just been a great leader for this project, and we could not have accomplished this without his leadership. And along with that is Samra Egger from Plan B as well. Without Samra's attention to detail and scheduling and haranguing different folks, we would have gotten off track on this project. So I want to thank both of you folks for that. The last thing is we also have to remember that there were literally hundreds of craftsmen that worked on this project. Everybody from the guys who broke the ground and poured the foundations to the folks who set up the CLT and the roof panels, to all the electricians and plumbers and pipe fitters and all the other trades. Without all of those folks working in tandem and during this COVID environment, this couldn't have happened. So I wanted to say thanks to all the different trades that were here on this project. So, Oregon City Chief Police Oregon City's Chief Band has been Chief Police in Oregon City since 2013. Jim Band has been a police officer for over 20 years and has extensive experience in investigation, prosecution, and prevention of child abuse in Clackamas County. Chief Band joined the Oregon City Police Department in 1999 from his time at the Mount Angel, Oregon Police Department. Band worked his way up the ranks, becoming a detective, a patrol sergeant, and a detective sergeant. He was promoted to lieutenant in 2009 and has held the rank of chief since 2013. He has a bachelor's degree in human development from Warner Pacific College and is a graduate of the 242nd session of the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia. It is my great honor as mayor, on behalf of the City Commission, to bestow the Distinguished Service Award to Chief Band based on his excellence in leadership in the region and to our police force. His service to our city and residents goes beyond the day-to-day patrol. He sits on the board of the Children's Center, who support Clackamas County children and families experiencing suspected abuse and neglect. Chief Band has also worked at the state level to increase penalties for strangulation cases from a misdemeanor to a felony offense, a much-needed change in the court system. Chief Band holds each of his staff accountable for their actions and encourages them to always be their best and to do their best for the benefit of our community. He is progressive in his field, which allows the police department to be nimble and evolve roles as our community changes and grows. Staff such as homeless liaison and soon a mental health specialist are an example of how our police chief helps keep up with the needs of our community. One thing many people don't know is that in February of 2016, when a Seaside police officer was killed, Chief Band took himself and several key officers to Seaside to fill in and make sure that the officers in Seaside could mourn their fallen brother. Your accomplishments reflect great credit upon yourself, the Oregon City Police Department, and the City of Oregon City. Jim? There's one more thing. If in 2018, the Department of Safety, Department of Public Safety Standards and Training updated their insignia recommendations, and they recommend for a department of our size that the chief hold the rank of 2-star. So Ms. Band and Ms. Libke, would you come up here, please? If you guys would change those out for me.
I'll change them out.
On your shoulder. Who, me? Yeah. No. Tuck it in. There we go. Thank you.
So just really want to say how much I appreciate everybody coming out tonight, the Libke family for taking the time to come help remember and celebrate the opening of this facility for our community. Couldn't be prouder of the work of everyone involved. So just thank you very much. Do ask, we are now going to turn it over to Chief Band in the Oregon City Honor Guard for the raising of the flags for the first time at the Robert Libke facility. Who's doing it? Just the commissioners?
You and Jim are holding the ends of the ribbon. The commissioner.
Okay, so I'll call them up. Okay.
Please rise. All uniform personnel, present, first. Order, start. Ready, fix.
Thank you. So now, just one last thing. If I could have Wendy and Ziva come on up, and the Oregon City Commissioners and Chief Band, and we will cut the ribbon. Come on down.
And then don't cut until I give you the sign, which is 1, 2, 3, cut.
Wow, look at those.
Do you want them over?
Count to 3.
Katie's got it.
Let's have Commissioner Smith come to the side, please. Thank you. There you go. Nope, here. Over here. Oh, right there in the middle. Good over here. Ah, the girls. There you go. Scissors open on the ribbon. Looking at the camera. Smiling. Waiting.
Smiling?
Holding. Holding. Keep holding. Everybody have their picture? 1, 2, 3, cut!
Mommy's got a piece of it for you.
Yep. Anybody else get a piece? I've got 2. Thank you.
That was the thing today. Okay, I promise that was the last. So thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight and helping us celebrate. Have a great rest of the evening. Thank you.